The year was 1976. I was an incoming UGA freshman, majoring in French education. As the daughter of an Italian mother and a military dad from Georgia, I quickly developed a love for travel and languages. So in 1976, I noticed those Cortona Studies Abroad posters that were hanging in Moore College and dreamed of going to Italy, where I have many relatives. However, I knew my mom and dad were sacrificing to send me to college, so I never mentioned the Cortona dream to them. Before I could blink an eye, the year was 2010, and my first child, Zach, was a junior at UGA. My husband Tim and I were happy to give him the opportunity to study in Cortona, and that meant that I got to go visit him there. So my dream of visiting Cortona was finally coming true. So off I went with my dear friend Tracy, who's here tonight, by my side. During our visit, while Zach was in class one day, Tracy and I took a day trip to Castiglione Fiorentino, just 10 minutes from Cortona. I instantly fell in love with this magical medieval hill town. And 1 year later, in 2011, Tim and I bought a modest little 600-year-old apartment in the town center of Castiglione Fiorentino. On our tiny pedestrian-only street, 2 doors down from our apartment, there is a crumbling stone structure that has been boarded up for 50 years. When I asked neighbors about it and why it was boarded up, they said, crisi, economic crisis, church's responsibility, the mayor's responsibility. Nothing was happening. Long story short, I decided I had to save the church. We started a 501c3 nonprofit organization called Friends of San Filipino, which is the name of the chapel. We have built the organization's infrastructure, and mostly we've been raising awareness thus far. We've been fortunate to receive lots of great press in many prominent Italian-American magazines and the Florentine magazine in Florence, Italy. We were also finalists for the 2018 World Monuments Watch List, which is a list of culturally important sites in the world that need to be saved. Fast forward to 2018. I learned from my Aunt Fern, who's here tonight, my father's youngest sibling, who lives here in Arnoldsville, that there's this nice lady here whose mission was to save an abandoned building and make it into a thriving community center. So I reached out to this lovely lady, Mary Nuri, to offer her my best wishes and any help she might need. Mary, in turn, discovered my project and was moved by it and offered to hold our inaugural event in the U.S. in this beautiful venue. It used to be Paul Butt's General Store. So this is where I have to hold it together. So here we are in Arnoldsville, Georgia, where my father grew up and where I used to visit my grandparents for many years. I have fond memories of walking to this general store from my grandparents' house to buy ice-cold Coca-Colas and dipped ice cream. So now the circle is about complete. Georgia, Nashville, Tuscany, and back to Georgia. And to help close the circle, we have John Bird with us tonight, singing the very classic country music I grew up with. In fact, Tim and I often go to listen to John in Nashville, because when we do, I feel my dad and his younger brother, my Uncle Dale, sitting beside me. So now you see why this is the perfect place for our first fundraiser in the U.S. Thank you for coming. Yes, this is a night about raising awareness and funds for an abandoned chapel in an unknown town in Tuscany, but it's about much more than that. It's a homecoming for many of us. It's about having hope and optimism and about doing whatever we can to cherish and save the places and the people that really matter to us. Thanks again for coming.
Thank you.